Hey, it's our Realized Math and History, and we are gonna take a look at the force! So what we're gonna do is look at a story problem because it applies to physics, and we're gonna understand why the force has to do with it. So, you come across 3 jars, and the jars have surprises in them, so you decide to break them. In order to do so, you throw Pikmin. However, the jars don't break and there's barely a scratch on them. You then send in the space dog named Ochi, and he smashes it through. He has a mass of 0.25 kilograms and is traveling at 0.1 meters per second. What is his force? So, we understand that the character that you're playing, plus the Pikmin and the so-called space dog, is like the size of a quarter. So it kind of does make sense that 0.1 meters per second, and he only weighs like 1/4 of a kilogram. So what happened is, the Pikmin did not have enough force to break through the jars. It was kind of lacking the strength needed. But even though Ochi is the same size as the Pikmin, he was managed to get through the jars and open the surprise, which had a bunch of jewels in them. That's because he created momentum by running into them and using his mass to create the amount of force needed to break the jars. But how are we going to calculate how much force he had? So there's an actual formula that we're going to take a look at. So the formula is F equal m multiplied by a. F representing the force, m representing the mass of the object that's moving, and a represents the acceleration, the change in speed and velocity. So picture this. You are trying to move something, but it doesn't budge. You don't have enough force to make that giant object move, just like the Pikmin didn't have enough force to break through the object, or the jars. What you have to do is run back, and you have to run towards it, smashing into the object, because it will create more force. Also, it will create momentum that will create energy. When you move, you create momentum, and that momentum changes into energy, and that energy is turned into force when you smash or hit into something. So let's understand how we do the math problem. So, we already understand that we have Ochi weighs or has a mass of 0.25 kilograms. But hang on, how are we gonna get this misconfusion over with? Because if he has a mass of 0.25 kilograms, why can't we use the word weight? So there's a difference between weight and mass. The mass of an object talks about how many particles an object has, because everything is made up of molecules or atoms. So everything is made up of particles. So it measures how much particles an object has. Weight is kind of the same thing, but it's measured differently. Weight is basically cheating in physics. The reason why is what's causing you to get your weight is actually the gravity that's pulling you down. So basically, it's cheating. Just like you see the words, the mass of the earth, the mass of the moon. You don't see the weight of the moon, because it makes no sense. Like, I weigh around 140 pounds, but that is going to be how much gravity the earth is pulling me down. But if I was in space, I wouldn't weigh the same thing because space has no gravity, but I would be made up in kilograms how many particles I'm made of, which is kind of weird. So we already understand that OT has a mass of 0.25 kilograms. We already also know that he is traveling at 0.1 meters per second. So let's try and plug these into the formula and see what our product is. But we're not ready yet. The reason why is when we talk about the mass, we usually try to do it in a more formal way. We can't have it in kilograms because that is not how many people do it. We have to change it to newtons. So newtons talks about the mass and how many particles are in objects of kilograms, but it also talks about like the gravitational constant on Earth. For example, 1 kilogram is going to be equal to 9.8 newtons. So that is going to be, newtons is usually referred to the units that is measured in physics. Talks about like the gravity along with the Earth. So what we have to do is multiply 0.25 with 9.8 on a calculator. So we're going to do 0.25, multiply that by 9.8, and we will get our newtons. So we will be able to get 2.5 newtons. 2.45 newtons. Now we can multiply to get to the force. So how much did the space dog, how much force did he apply on the jars when he dashed into them? When you multiply 0.25 and 0.1, you're going to get an answer of 0.245 newtons. So Ochi, the space dog, used that much force upon the jars to break them open. And the surprising part is, you found a bunch of gems that will be collected back inside that tiny spaceship. Honey! So that concludes the video. I hope this video has helped you understand the force. The force! Thank you for watching Tao Penalized Math Industry. Like and subscribe. And if you're still confused, play the Pikmin 4 demo made by Nintendo Incorporated.
こう寝るぬおや